I have the most mind-blowing episode for you today. I blew my own mind when I started thinking about it, and I literally didn't have enough fingers to key out just the main message I wanted to give to you and the keywords. I just wanted to make sure I put it down organized because my brain is such a scribble and I struggle to focus. I just go down a rabbit hole and then lose the point. So I thought I better do a structured thing because today I have something very, very important to tell you, and I have to make this in a way that you fully understand what I mean. Because if you can grasp this, it's gonna make such a difference to your daily work as a vet, for sure. Today, I want to talk to you about your value as a vet. And I want to make 1000% sure that you, first of all, don't confuse your value as a person, like your intrinsic value, and the value you offer by your work, which is a completely different thing. So first of all, I want to talk to you about what you might think is your value as a vet. Stay with me. To us, our values as vets could be, for example, I think it's very generic. We all think, okay, how much have we studied? Which school did we go to? What certificates have we got after? The continual professional education we've taken afterwards, all the YouTubes we've watched. Don't tell anyone. How much experience we have, how many years have you accumulated? Did do a lot of extra hours when you were in vet school? How hard did you work? How many hours have you put into getting the experience you got under your belt now? Maybe our worth, we think, is as well, how many hours do we work in the clinic, for example? Do we think like putting in a lot of hours at our workplace and doing a lot of hours in general, is that being very valuable to your workplace, for example? How thorough your notes are could be something you value very high. I don't know if you remember the episode where I talked about I coached a vet that just spent this insane amount of hour on her notes. So she literally never had any sleep or any time off. She obviously valued her notes very well and thought that maybe her workplace and the clients were going to value these very, very thorough notes. Maybe we also think that we are very valuable when we are really good at what we think is client care. For example, we give a lot of time to the clients. We make sure we do follow-up calls, answer emails really quickly. We remember the pet's name, just kind of like being very good at client care. We might think that that's very valuable. We might, for example, think one of our values could be honesty. Being an honest person is very valuable. We might think being nice to people is a value. We might think if I'm really nice to them, if I give the pets treat and I'm just like telling jokes, maybe the clients will value that. And we have this idea in our head of what value is. And what happens is that the idea that we have of our value, first of all, has to be separate of your value as a person, your intrinsic value as a person. You need to know that you're always a 100% value. And everything I just said, if I strip that away as a person, if you just want to sit on your couch every day, watching Netflix, it doesn't make you any less valuable at any point in time. That is very important to know, right? Like you don't need to have any experience, be in a certain way for you to be valuable. But as a veterinary professional, you might have an idea that this is your value. But the thing is, someone cannot decide if you are intrinsically valuable. They decide how valuable you are to them. That would be whatever manual they have for how vets should be and what's valuable to them. And that is the external kind of value, right? The external determination of our value. So we create a value for others by being useful to them. So we need to be aware of what other people need or what they find useful. And it is completely separate from our intrinsic values because the external value is subjective. And it also depends on how much someone wants to pay for it, right? And this is nothing you should ever take personally. It is not about you intrinsically. So how do we separate this out? I've just told you what I think your values might be. You might identify with some of them, some are not. We all different, aren't we? But generically, this is what we normally find valuable as a vet. But to your workplace, the top 3 values they look for, first of all, how much money are you bringing in? Second is client satisfaction and client retention, like how many complaints do you get? How many clients do you bring in? And how many are you able to keep in your clinic? And I guess as well, the third value would be for them that basically you keep the peace at workplace. You're not gossiping, you're not always complaining, you're not always like leaving your colleagues in the shit, right? That's kind of like what your workplace wants from you. They don't really care about anything else. In the interview, they will ask you about your certifications, about your experience. They'll try to find out how you are. But basically, they ask about these things because they want you to bring in money and they want you to keep the clients and bringing in more clients to the practice. That's basically what they want. They don't really care how many hours you work either. As long as you're bringing in enough money and you're bringing in clients, like the hours are not really important. They don't care. They don't appreciate you staying 3 hours more if you could have brought the same amount of money and clients in 3 hours less, if you know what I mean. So just be really careful when you think, I am very valuable to my clinic because I always work overtime. Okay, but they're not really interested in that. They're interested in how much money are you bringing in and are you retaining and bringing in more clients. That is literally all they're interested in when you boil it down. So be careful with what you think is valuable to your workplace and what they think is valuable. But more importantly, what is valuable to the pet owners? Because you might find that some pet owners are incredibly ungrateful because they don't value how good you are at all those things we listed before. But here's the thing, because each pet owner will have a manual for what they think is a good vet. And they are wildly different. Each client will have an insanely different manual for what they think is a good vet. So this could be, first of all, I have no idea. A client comes in, I don't know what they think is a very valuable vet. It could be, did you remember that pet's name? Did you give it treats? On the other hand, they could be more looking at, do you look like a professional? Are your scrubs clean? Have you got a white coat on? Do you talk in a specific way? Do you have 1,000 certificates on the wall saying all the things you've done? Are you a male? How old are you? Have you got a beard? Like all these things, conscious and subconscious, will affect what they think your value is, and it will affect their opinion about you and how they would give feedback, or whether they're going to complain about you or send chocolates to the clinic. For example, a farm vet will look at you and see, have you got mud on your boots? Are you ready to get dirty? You know, have you got long manicured nails? They're not going to value that. They will value short, dirty nails because they want you to go down and dirty. While, for example, maybe a posh Chihuahua owner will like you being very clean and very proper because that's kind of what they see as a high-end veterinarian. And you need to understand this. You need to understand your client, their problems, and to a certain extent, the manual they have for you. Let me give you a really good example. Every vet's nightmare, a skin patient. Let's say for you, you are a very valuable vet. You have a certain amount of years of experience. You have taken extra certifications in skincare. You know all the good tests that you need to do to try and diagnose a skin patient. You have read up on and attended courses on the best diets that you could check, and so on, and so on, and so on. You are crack at doing the right biopsies. Whenever you do biopsies or cytologies and send them to the lab, they always compliment that you got them right and you can really easy diagnose from them. And you're like, I am such a valuable skin vet, right? I can do dermatology, and all the clients just be so grateful and so happy to have me because I provide so much value. Now, when the owner comes in with Fido, because Fido has got whatever prurito is going on, the only thing he cares about, can you make Fido stop scratching? He does not care about all the other things that you think are very valuable. So maybe they come in, and if you're a bit new, like I remember in the beginning, I would think like this. You come in, you take this really thorough history, you ask them what they tried, what they haven't, the food, this and the other, and you do all these amazing tests and biopsies and Cushing, it could be thyroid, and you charge an insane amount of money in their eyes, and you give them no treatment, and Fido is no better. All the while, you're waiting for the results to come back. What happens? They have now paid you hundreds and hundreds, even maybe thousands of pounds, dollars, euros, depending where you are. And they are going to go out and speak to their friends. And maybe they will see that Fido has got some, you know, tape on their leg because you took blood test. They might see it's got some scratches, maybe some stitches if you've done a biopsy. And they ask, oh, what's up with Fido? Oh, he was scratching so much and I just couldn't, I tried everything they say, which is like tea tree oil, aloe vera, silver, raw diet, whatever. And then I finally took him to the vet and they charged me £1,000 and I'm waiting for the results. Okay, the friend asked, so is Fido any better? No, not yet. They're waiting for the results and they've said that I should probably try this diet that costs a lot of money and then wait 8 weeks and see if it helps. Can you see where this train of thought is going inside the owner's head? They might not be very happy. And if you fail to realize that what they think is valuable, which is, I just want Fido to stop scratching so I can sleep at night, but you're so happy with all your certificates and tests and everything and how good it's going to be and long-term, how great this is going to work out. And he might lose a bit of weight as well. This dog is going to be so great. The owner doesn't give a crap about all that. They just want this solution right now. So they have to understand why what you do is so valuable. They really need to understand why they're paying so much, why you are so excited about it, and why it is worth going through a time of some suffering and not immediate results, so they can understand the long-term, plan and the great outcome. So it's really important to explain why our vet work is so valuable. Like, why do we do each thing, and show them as much as possible. I am lucky that I work nights and I can do what the heck I want doing nights. So I am very pro getting the clients in. And our hospital consists of 3 floors. The top floor is just for where we the living area, common area, kitchen. So I don't show them that. But I will very often take them down to where the hospital bit is, where the surgery bit is, and I will walk them through the whole thing, and they can see like theater, CT scanner, x-rays, they can see it all up, and I will happily walk them through and take them right into kennels so they can see the animal that's hospitalized. They can see the drip line. They can see all the meds we have around all the kennels. They can see the nurses over here doing something. The kennel assistant is walking past with some clean scrubs. They get an idea of how many lights we got running, how many instruments we have, all the tech we have, how big the place is. They can see how clean it is, and subconsciously they understand that this has to get clean. All the kennels, how expensive are that been, the setup, and they can see the care as well, if they can see the nurse nursing a patient in that moment. And I think that just switches their brain into like, oh, that what they're doing to my pet is, they can perceive the value I'm giving them. It's just not the same taking the dog off them when they say it's got a hemorrhagic gastroenteritis, and I take your pet off you and I just disappear with your pet, and then once a day maybe you get a phone call, the blood shows this and he's a bit better and he's having some meds, and meanwhile, the bill is just going up into the thousands, right? And people just don't understand it. They don't understand, how can it be so expensive? What is going on? And even if you itemize the bill, like, the visual is just not the same. So for hospitalized patients, I am totally pro, like, bring them in, obviously have your clinic tidy and have people sort of not telling really black, rude jokes in the moment. I warn them that an owner's coming in, because we know, we have our own little humor to get us going, but show them. And when you have a complicated case that is frustrating to everybody, take your time explaining to them, what you're doing, why you're doing each step, and explain it again if you have to. Give them some leaflets, a YouTube video, whatever you can, so they can see the value of what you're doing. Because if they have one manual and you're just operating another manual over here, they're not going to appreciate your work, and you're going to feel underappreciated. You're going to feel that your workplace is ungrateful. They don't appreciate you. You're going to feel the clients are ungrateful. And I see a lot of vets that become very disappointed, disillusioned. They feel underappreciated. They don't feel valued. But you not feeling valued doesn't mean that you are not very valuable. You are. You totally are. The minute you step out of vet school, you already are so valuable that it's insane. The amount of hours you have put in, your brain has probably grown 50% just with all the information you've put into it, the hard work you put into it, your personality to manage to get through vet school, you know, the money you have put into it, the hours you have missed out on with your loved ones and doing fun stuff because you were studying. You have already got so much intrinsic value as a vet, but others are not going to see that. They're not going to perceive it and are not going to value that. They don't know that. You need to know for yourself that you are 100% valuable as a person, and you are very, very valuable as a vet the minute you step out of vet school. And you only get more and more valuable throughout all the time with the experience you have, whether you stay in vet med or not. The value you have now as a vet is always going to follow you no matter what happens. It doesn't matter if you have cases that go really wrong, if you have clients that complain against you, if your workplace don't pay you enough, if all this doesn't matter for your value. Your intrinsic value will always be the same. It's just others' perception of it. And it is so, so important that you realize the difference, because I don't want you to undermine your own confidence, undermine your own value, and feel underappreciated and feel undervalued. Those feelings come from inside of you, and nobody from the outside can make you feel that way. If you can stand your ground within yourself and find your value. No, I am valuable. I just failed to communicate my value to this other person. And for example, in your workplace, if you don't get paid enough, which is very, very likely if you're a female vet, it is not that you are not as valuable as the male members of your team. It is just that, one, you have not communicated your value clear enough and what you want. And second, the management probably has some subconscious manual for vets and professionals and how much they should get paid, and they might not even realize they're underpaying you. But it's not because you are in any way or form less valuable than a senior or a male member of the team. Okay, so all this to say that I feel like if you feel disillusioned, if you feel that people are really ungrateful and you get angry and you feel regret and resentment in this profession, I want you to really, really find within yourself the value that you have already, and find where have you maybe failed to communicate that to others, or how have you maybe put yourself into an environment where the value you have is just not very valuable to the people around you. If you're a farm vet and I put you in Beverly Hills, surrounded by Chihuahua ladies, they're not going to find you very valuable. But if you are, as say, a small animal vet specializing in exotics or specializing in dermatology, and I put you out with the cows, you're not going to be very valuable to those farm vets. They're going to look at you and say, you haven't got any mud on your boots. It's too very extreme, right? But within this, you have the population, you have the workplaces, you have how much money is in the area. And it's really important that you make sure that you find the workplace that do value you and the values you bring, and that you also find a way to communicate with the clients the value that you're giving them so they can really appreciate it. And the last thing I want to say is, when you offer some value to a client, let's say a skin patient, and you offer all these tests and diet testing and whatever is it you think they should have, is something you're offering to them. You're not right. You don't want to sell them hard on it. You want to make really clear what it is, and you're just offering it to them. And then it's up to them whether they want to take it or not. And it's important not to get offended if they just want you to stop video from scratching and they don't care about everything else you're telling them. Some clients are just not ready for that. And you can think about it a bit if somebody is visiting you in the house and you're asking them, hey, do you want a glass of water? And they're like, no, I'm not thirsty right now. That is literally the neutral place you can come to. That feeling, if somebody rejects your glass of water at home, you're not going to have a hissy fit over it. You're not going to get your knickers in a twist just because somebody rejected your glass of water, right? And it's the same when you offer some amazing services to a client, then like, no, just give me the tablets so it stops scratching. And you're like, okay, just so you know, this is what I would offer you. And if it doesn't get any better, blah, blah, blah. But okay, I can give you some steroids if it's got something that you can help with steroids. Take the lower option that you think is not ideal, because all you can do is offer them this value and then they can take it or leave it, right? Or if they leave the clinic because they don't think that you work like they want you to work, you don't follow their manual, it's not your problem either. It's their problem. It's their perception of you. Okay. I hope this was really, really valuable to you. haha, I think this is 100% valuable to you. Because if you go and you're beating yourself up and not feeling valuable, that's a horrible feeling. And that is what's gonna burn you out for sure and make you feel disillusioned with this profession. And this is also one of the things I help so many clients with. There are specific exercises I take my clients through depending on where they are in their perception of their own value. So I bring out and I show them how valuable they are, literally from the moment they were born, everything they've learned, how they are, what they've got, what they haven't got. And I just keep, bringing them back to this whenever they feel they get like pushed down by the world a bit. I'm like, no, but look at your value. This is not you missing something. This is just their perception. And I bring my clients to that back to that again and again. And if you don't feel very valuable or you feel underappreciated right now, then by all means reach out for a free consultation with me, and I'll show you exactly how it works and how I can teach you how to bring yourself back to your intrinsic value, so you can then find a workplace that really appreciates you how you are, and you can communicate your value to pet owners as well, so you can go to work, wanting to go in and feeling appreciated and feeling valued and get paid what you are worth as well. All right, I'll put the link in the show notes and see you next week. Bye.